Welcome to the 2025 Killarney Historic Rally, the opening round of the 2026 Wales Motorsport Fabrication Historic Irish Tarmac Rally Championship, where a mouth-watering historic entry will tackle some of Ireland's most legendary stages, including the five-time World Rally Championship winner Chris Meek, who's part of an incredible 6 BMW M3s featuring inside the top 10. Meek, the star attraction in the Ahern's BMW M3.
Chris, this debut in the M3 E30 is made possible thanks to Ahern's BMW. How special does that make this weekend for you?
Yeah, no, it's a unique weekend. I grew up in a rally family. My father actually ran Bertie Fisher for many years, and Bertie Fisher's a multiple Irish Tarmac Rally champion, and he won his first ever Irish Tarmac Championship 35 years ago this year in a BMW M3 ran by my father. So I was only 10 years of age at that time and remember it very, very well. So yeah, it's a very special thing, and big thanks to Paul Ahern and everybody pulling everything together. But let's see tomorrow when we head up Malls Gap tomorrow morning. We don't know what the weather's going to do. 4 seasons in one day at the minute, but yeah, it gives it quite cool tomorrow, so I don't think it's going to dry much, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Going to love the challenge.
And there's a lot of spectators here this weekend to see you, so how special does that make this weekend for you?
Yeah, obviously with my foray in the World Rally Championship for many years, we had a big following, and I've been living abroad now since nearly 10 years, so it's really special every time I can get home, you know, and you really appreciate the pedigree of rallying in Ireland is still there, the passion still burns, and everybody turns out in the crowd even here today, you know, so I can't wait to get started.
The rally is the traditional start to Christmas in Killarney. The start ramp on the eve of the event set the stage for what could be an incredible historic battle for supremacy across the stunning Kerry countryside. Defending Killarney historic winners, Donna Kelly and co-driver Rory Kennedy, hope to repeat their triumph of last year aboard their BMW M3. Kelly became only the second person to win Killarney in an M3, following the late Craig Breen's dominant win in 2021.
Donna, last year's reigning champion, a lot of pressure on for this year. How are you feeling?
Well, I don't think there's any real pressure on me because we have some fabulous drivers behind me who are expected to win.
And what do you think of the stages this year?
Very tricky, very technical. Yeah, look, it's a new rally for all of us. Apart from the gap on the way up, it's all new.
Kelly faces a tough challenge from Meek, who makes his Killarney historic debut in another M3. The 2007 Rally of the Lakes champion joins forces with the leading Irish tarmac navigator Noel O'Sullivan.
Chris, fantastic atmosphere here. A lot of people turned out to come here to see you today. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's incredible. Honestly, I'm living away from home now in Ireland. I'm living out of Ireland now over 10 years, so when you come back here, you really appreciate it. The pedigree that Irish rallying has, the amount of people that come out. This is just a historic rally in Ireland, but yeah, can't wait to wake up in the morning and get started pointing for Malls Gap.
Paul, you are the reason that Chris is here. How does that feel, and how did you manage to bring this about?
Sure, I don't know what I say. I'm the reason, but in fairness, Chris has a great association with Killarney. Obviously, with Paul Nagel and Kathy, you know, would be long-time friends. There's myself and Kevin Sullivan and Gaz. You know, we were great friends of Chris always. And in fairness, Morris, Paul's dad, was a great friend of Chris as well. So, you know, he's wanted to do this event for a while, and to get a chance to drive an M3, he said, you know, put me down, I'm going.
Well, there are fantastic cars, and there's a lot of M3s in competition today, so hopefully his can stand out. Anything that you think will make the car stand out a bit more?
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, the M3 is a fantastic car. You know, I suppose it's in our DNA in BMW. Our heritage goes back to these cars, the E30s, this high revving engine. You know, we still have it in a lot of our cars today, and a lot of the technology that was born in these early cars. But I suppose the thing that will stand out with Chris is when you see that man go up Malls Gap tomorrow morning, he lets his driving do the talking.
Rob Duggan and Ger Conway add another dimension to the battle at the front. The 2019 winner swaps his modified Ford Escort Mark II for an historic specification Escort. Duggan is the master of tests in Killarney, like Malls Gap, will need to be on top form if he's to overcome his BMW and Subaru rivals.
Yeah, it's just a different challenge from the modified car. We've done it a good couple of times in the modified car, and when the opportunity came up to go in the historic car, we jumped at it. We did well the last time in 2019 in a very similar spec car off Marion Evans as well. So, look, we give it a go up the gap in the morning. I can't wait, and hopefully everyone gets home safe.
Alan, you have opted for the Subaru Impreza this year. Why did you go for that car?
I think for Ireland, for most of the stages, it's wet and bumpy, and it's the next generation on. We had an M3. We heard last year the M3, so we've changed to this. In principle, it should be better. It should suit the stages.
The M3 battalion continues with the 2025 historic Irish Tarmac Rally champions John O'Donnell and Paddy Robinson, who were unstoppable throughout last season in the BMW. Can they challenge for Killarney glory and kickstart their title defence in style?
This is the kind of the All-Ireland final of rallying and as far as the historics is concerned. So we came down here last year, we took a podium third. This year we're Tarmac champions, going into it, so we're definitely going down to throw all caution to the wind and give it everything we've got this weekend.
Patrick, you have tackled rallies all over Europe. How does it feel coming to Ireland?
It's always good fun to come to Ireland. It's really a rally people here. They like rally, and I feel at home here. I think a long time ago I was born here, maybe in a castle or so.
The entry is completed by close to 100 modified cars featuring some of Ireland's finest two-wheel drive pairings. That includes Rally 2 regular Kevin Eves from Donegal and Colin O'Donoghue, a local driver with plenty to prove.
You're first out the gap tomorrow, but you're well used to it. Talk to me a bit about the pressure that's on you today.
Yeah, look, it's our home event. We're leading modifieds away in the morning, and there's a tough competition behind us, and there's a new loop of stages down in Kilmare now this year, so it's a nice change for everyone, and it's nice to mix it up, so be a level playing field for everyone, you know.
So as the cars head to the overnight Park Fairmay, let's have a look at this year's stages. No trip to Killarney is complete without an early morning blast through Malls Gap before heading into Lisiclearig for stages 2 and 5, a really tricky 8.5 kilometre test. At 10 kilometres long, the third stage is Routy River. There's no breaks in this test, with jumps, crests and dips littered throughout. It's also stage 6. Sheen River is stage 4 and 7. It's fast, narrow and demanding, while stages 8 and 9 Malls Gap in reverse. Stage 8 will be tackled at daylight before the rally's decider takes place in darkness, as we head to the top of Malls Gap for stage 1.
Welcome to Killarney Towers Hotel Historic Rally, a weekend of legends, top-class competitors, and there is history in every corner here in County Kerry. And what a way to start this off with one of the most iconic stretches of tarmac in Irish rallying. It's Malls Gap.
And on stage 1, Mick delivered a masterclass in his Killarney historic debut, the 5-time World Rally Championship event winner, making his first appearance on an Irish tarmac event since the 2008 Donegal International Rally. He dominated the early proceedings, stamping his authority on the event from the wet opening stage through Malls Gap. He went 8.9 seconds faster than anyone else despite limited experience in the tricky conditions, and after 4 stages, Meek led by 43.6 seconds.
Stop into 4 left, only 20, turn 1 right through the bays onto narrow bridge. 3 right plus, tightens, hug over crest, watch it, and along 4 right water, slow long, 3 left, hug, 80, slow into right, 20, 4 left, hug, it's okay, and middle over flat crest, 60, caution, must slow through 5 left, only 20, 2 left, slippy, gravel.
Donegal's Donna Kelly, last year's winner, couldn't keep pace with Meek on the opening 4 stages and endured a moment on stage 2 when the rear of his M3 ended up in a ditch. yet he managed the second fastest time. Incredible. After 4, Kelly was almost a minute behind Meek and 18.4 seconds ahead of third place.
Minus, watch here, right, 4 left minus, 18, 4 left minus, and 4 right minus, 4 right, 100, 3 right in, 100 up, 100 up, 4 right, 6 left, wheel inside, steady here now, stay middle over blind crest, and the 5 left don't come, 60, 5 left, 1 right over crest, middle, 60, short 4 right, and long 4 right, tightens.
John O'Donnell's tight defence got off to a slow start as the M3 driver was only 8th after stage 1, but he found his rhythm, and after starting cautiously he moved up to 4th by stage 3, setting a string of second fastest times. Overheating issues on stage 4 caused a little concern, but he was now 3rd behind Meek and Kelly.
Small crest jump, 130 for bump, to 3 left over crest jump, 3 left over crest jump, John, 40, crest jump, stay middle, into middle over bump, depth 170, middle over jump, narrow bridge, 300, chicane, left entry, 4 bells, left entry, 4 minutes.
Local driver Rob Duggan, the 2019 Killarney Historic winner, swapped his regular modified Ford Escort for an historic specification Escort for this year's event. He was 4th after 4 stages, 15.5 seconds off O'Donnell.
Slight right over crest, okay, 70. To sharp 4 right plus 60, 5 left minus into middle over crest, okay, 70, tight 3 right minus, into 3 left, 70, left over crest into 3 right minus.
An early casualty, however, was Thomas Davies, 6th after the opening stage at Malls Gap, but the rally ended on stage 2 as the M3 would go no further after an off on the tricky roads of Lissaclerig. Fergus O'Mara and Brian Duggan were still learning the BMW and tweaking the setup as they went through the early stages. They were 5th fastest on the opening stage, despite catching the Belgian legend Patrick Sneers, and after 4 they were still 5th, 15.1 seconds off Rob Duggan. Conor Shanahan and Andy Hayes were 6th in their M3, the ex-drifting champ out in Killarney once again, this time in a BMW. He needed all his drifting skills and the help of the Arco barriers to survive a massive moment on the opening test.
60 to a 6 left over small crest, 100 to a fast 3 left, 150 to a 5 right over crest, 130 to a care crest, 4 right slippy, 80 to a 5 left plus, 4 good man, 5 left plus and 5 right don't cut and the 6 left and the 6 right over crest, 100 care right on crest, 4 left.
Alan Ring and Adrian Deasy were not happy with the setup of the Subaru Impreza 555, and the pair were 7th after 4 stages, 21.6 seconds off Conor Shanahan in their 4-wheel drive machine. Stephen Greeny and Jonathan Folan were 8th after 4 stages in the Toyota Corolla World Rally car, and the merest of gaps separated the pair from Ring and Deasy, just 0.8 of a second off 7th. Leading Subaru Legacy contender Ray Breen started 16th, adding further 4-wheel drive firepower to an already diverse entry, and after 4 stages, he and co-driver Damien Morrissey were 9th, 14.7 seconds behind the Corolla. Patrick Sneers in the BMW M3 had a terrible opening stage. He couldn't get the windscreen clear of condensation and was unhappy with the handling of the BMW. He was well outside the top 10 after the opening 4 stages. So, 4 stages down of 9 on this year's event is Chris Meek, who leads by 46.6 seconds. In second place is Donna Kelly, ahead of John O'Donnell, Rob Duggan and Fergus O'Mara.
We're here in the beautiful Kenmare for the Killarney Towers Historic Rally. The weather conditions have improved and Chris Meek has a commanding lead. We'll be back with more action after the break.
Welcome back to part 2 of the 2025 Killarney Historic Rally, and the breathtaking scenery that is the Kingdom of Kerry, and even in overcast conditions, is still stunning. And it didn't deter big crowds that lined the 9-stage event. The rally's being run in memory of Mike Gain, with much of the competitive mileage based around his home area of Kenmare. In fact, the final corner of Malls Gap passes the Gain family farm. In part 1, we had a look at the historics, where Chris Meek led after 4 stages. So we begin part 2 with action from the modifieds. And leading the modifieds after 4 stages, Colin and Kieran O'Donoghue in the Ford Escort Mark II. The small issue with their gearbox on stage 1, but after 4 stages their Mark II had a 37.1 second lead. Stage 1 incidentally was interrupted after the pair had gone through the stage, with the remaining cars given equal times.
Left at the pole, 200 down, watch braking for 2 right under the tree, and sharp 3 left, big carry, bad mud call.
Power steering issues on the opening stage put Kevin Eves well out of contention in his Toyota Corolla twin cam. Gary McPhillips and Conor Mohan had power steering issues in the Corolla over Malls Gap and dropped to 4th, but they're up to 2nd after 4 in their attempt to chase down the O'Donoghues, and there was some dramatic shots as they climbed to Malls Gap. Chris Armstrong and Connor Smith in their Ford Escort lost time, with some cars going off mid-stage on Malls Gap, but they climbed from 4th to 3rd on stage 4 and were closing in on Gary McPhillips, just 3.6 seconds in arrears, but he wasn't particularly happy with his pace, was Armstrong. Michael Carbon and Derek Kelly were 4th in modifieds in the Escort after climbing 3 places, and were now a mere 0.6 of a second behind the Escort of Chris Armstrong. What an opening 4 stages it was for Gordon Morrison and Ian Parker in the Ford Escort Mark II. They were ranked 41st at the start. The pair were now in the top 5 and only 2.2 seconds behind Carbon's Escort. Outside of the O'Donoghues, there was nothing to separate 2nd to 5th place after the opening 4 tests. There were stage interruptions in the Kingdom on Malls Gap and Lissacurig, while cars went at longer intervals on stage 4 Sheen River, with John Michael Kennelly and Dylan Harrington in the Ford Escort 6th in the modifieds, just a 2nd off 5th place. 7th and climbing into the top 10 in the huge modified national class section, Leonard Downey and Mark Murphy in the Ford Escort RS, 5.9 seconds off Kennelly.
Leonard, driving a beautiful Mark II, you enjoying the rally so far?
Absolutely having a ball, yeah. Really good fun, yeah. Stages are fantastic. Plenty slipping and sliding and everything, so totally enjoying it.
Well, you're giving the spectators a show anyway.
I think we are, yeah.
Corey Eves and Michael White in the Toyota Twin Cam were also in the national class mix. Such was the tight nature of the time of the cars ahead of them. The pair now 8th, nothing between themselves, and 7th place after 4. Michael Cahill and Killian McArdle in another Mark II were in 9th and just 0.2 of a second behind Eves, closing in. Ben McIntyre and Anthony MacDonald damaged the front of their Starlet after overshooting into a ditch, but they were safely in the top 10 in 10th.
Ben, you're in the Kerry scenery. Tell us what happened.
Oh, I just ran a wee bit wide in a corner and I clipped the bank and pulled the arch off. We didn't do much damage, thank God, so we're still going.
Ben's brother Aaron fared worse with a time-consuming off on the opener, which highlighted the treacherous conditions. The pair were last of the modifieds after 4 stages, but determined to get to the finish.
Into short 4 right, 100. Lay 3 left in, over crest, don't crash.
As usual, there's plenty of local competitors out in force, including Killarney and District Motor Club Chairman Tommy Randalls. Another regular on the stages is Cyril Wharton, who also supports the club's summer event, the Rally of the Lakes. The modified leaderboard then after 4 stages. It is Colin and Kieran O'Donoghue who have the lead. They've got 24.3 seconds to spare over Gary McPhillips. Chris Armstrong is in 3rd place ahead of Michael Carbon and Gordon Morrison. There was a lot of anticipation in the lead up to this year's rally, with rally stars such as Patrick Sneers and Chris Meek taking part. And the pupils at Knockaderry National School in Farran 4 certainly had an exciting break from their lessons when Chris Meek paid a visit in his BMW M3. Also proving to be a popular visitor was the clerk of the course, Anthony O'Connor, on hand with some festive treats as we caught up with the new associate sponsor of the rally, Brian Glover of BG Motors.
We're here in Knockaderry School with all the kids, and Chris Meek's car and Noel Sullivan here as well. Yeah, it's a great atmosphere around Killarney this weekend, and it's a great rally to be able to be involved in.
Now let's go back to the historic leaders and their action over stages 5, 6 and 7. Meek has stretched his lead after 7 to 1 minute and 19 seconds. Meek has recently completed a full season in the Portuguese Rally Championship in a Toyota Yaris Rally 2, in which he won 5 rallies. The Killarney Historic Rally is a real homecoming for Meek. His entry is a tribute to the late Maurice Nagel, founder of the rally in 1996 and father of his former WRC co-driver Paul Nagel.
80, flat left through the dip and slow, 5 left over back crest bump, 80, watch, here crest jump, 100, watch this one, water, crest and dip, more slow, 60 past the fence, to the sharp crest into 2 right, slippy, dip, straight at 200, through the dip.
Still second after 7 stages, Donna Kelly in the BMW. Indeed, there was little change in the order after 7 stages. Kelly would have been hoping for a Meek non-finish if he was to retain his crown.
And 5 right through the dip. 5 right the dip. Tight 6 left. Cones inside. And a very long 2 left. Continues over 40. Tightens to 3 through the dip. Tightens to 3 through the dip. And the crest, very long 4 right. Continues over 40.
Still third, John O'Donnell, 9.1 seconds off Kelly's M3. The battle will be intense when the cars finish the event with 2 runs over Moll's Gap in reverse, the second in darkness.
Into 1 right over crest bump, okay, and 2 left half long, tightens, water to 6 left, chevron. 40. That's it, Paddy. Flat 1 left over small crest, 40. 1 right, 40, square right plus half long, don't cut.
Rob Duggan was third after stage 2, but now down to fourth, 29.9 seconds off third. Duggan struggled initially to adjust to the different characteristics of his historic specification Ford Escort, finding the bumps more severe than expected and bottoming out on several sections.
40, sharp 4 right plus, 40 to sharp 3 left plus, opens over the crest, 40, sharp 4 left plus, and right into right side over flat crest, okay, 150.
Conor Shanahan found it difficult initially to take chances without knowing how his BMW would react over the bumps, but he grew in confidence as the stages progressed. Fergus O'Mara was cautious over the bumps to avoid putting a wheel on the grass, but he lost crucial time on stage 6 when he lost control of the rear of his BMW in 5th gear, dropping around 20 seconds. Stephen Greeny closed to within 0.6 of a second of O'Mara by stage 6, but he dropped time to the BMW on stage 7. In 8th, and climbing 2 places indeed, Ray Breen in the Subaru Legacy, 32.9 seconds now behind Greeny. in 9th, just inside the top 10. Michael McDade, 0.1 of a second now behind Ray Breen. The battle has been conjoined between the duo. And don't forget Alan Ring and Adrian Deasy, although they've dropped 2 places down to 10th. They're 2.3 seconds now behind McDade.
The bonnet came loose on the last stage, so we had to pull over to Marshall to get it fixed, and they're still trying to fix it there now. So we might get penalty by that. So we've gone in slick tyre, we've gone wild. We put a slick tyre on for the run down the gap. We might as well go do a bit of testing.
Chris, you are bringing huge excitement here today to Killarney Rally. There's crowds of people here to see you. How does it feel?
Oh, it's nice. I've seen more spectators here than some of the World Championship rallies I've done over the years. Yeah, the following Irish rallying has incredible, and yeah, with these cars, they're spectacular to watch, I'm sure, and to listen. The sound is the biggest thing in sport, you know. And you can hear one of these cars coming from 3-4 k's away, screaming their head off. It's, I'm sure it's really good for the spectators. But I'm having an amazing day, loving it.
You won it here last year, but how are you finding it this year against World Rally Champions?
Well, here we're not anywhere near Chris's pace, you know, but big push now to see if we can hold on to second. John O'Donnell's closing on us, you know, so we have to have a fairly committed run up the gap. So let's see how it goes.
And are you looking forward to the night stage?
Not particularly. When you get older, your eyes don't work as well.
Patrick, great to see you back on Irish roads.
Yeah, it's always fun to be here, and this morning I was not confident, but now we have done a couple of stages, and I feel much more confident, and the car is coming better, and I have the good feeling, and yeah.
And how are you finding the Irish stages?
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. No, they're great, and I have to come back next year to do a better result.
So they start leaderboard after 7 stages. Chris Meek still leads ahead of Donna Kelly, John O'Donnell, Robert Duggan and Conor Shanahan in a very fine 5th place. Join us after the break for part 3. Welcome back to the Killarney Towers Hotel Historic Rally, where we turn to the modified section now, and the runs over stages 5, 6 and 7. Well, the O'Donoghues continue to lead in the Ford Escort Mark II. No dramas. Their advantage with 2 miles gap stages to go is 58.9 seconds. The real battle in the national class is going on behind the comfortable leaders, with Gary McPhillips and Conor Mohan still second ahead of the last 2 tests. Third, and only 2.2 seconds in arrears of McPhillips, is Chris Armstrong, along with Conor Smith in the Ford Escort. Gordon Morrison and co-driver Ian Parker have had a fantastic run to 4th. Michael Carbon and Derek Kelly had been safely in 4th after 4, but there the rally ended for their Ford Escort. John Michael Kennelly in 5th, just 3.1 seconds off 4th and 24 odd seconds off 3rd indeed, with 2 to go. Michael Cahill and Killian McCardle climbed from 9th to 6th overall after the second run through the Kenmare-based stages. Ben McIntyre and Anthony McDonald in the Toyota Starlet had dropped to 10th in modified, but had worked themselves up to 7th after 7. Leonard Downey and Mark Murphy's Ford Escort RS was just a mere 3 seconds behind McIntyre after 7 stages. Just behind Downey, Tim Flood and Anthony Smith in the Mark II, they were just 0.8 of a second off Downey. Up 3 places and into the top 10, Rodney Wilson and Conor McMahon in their Mark II.
Rodney, great to see you back here in the Killarney Historics. How are you finding it?
Yeah, very good. It's very good. It's a good challenge in stages and good fun.
Chris, you're lying in 3rd, only 2.2 seconds between you and Gary Phillips.
Yeah, we're happy. We got a bit of time back out of him in that last stage. 2 times up Mall's Gap now, so 36 kilometres to try and get a bit more time out of him. Hopefully now we'll come out on top. We'll keep pushing anyway.
And how are you fixed for nighttime driving?
Not sure now. I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but we'll put the push on and hopefully get a good run.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's normally the best rally of the year here with the night stages, so we're looking forward to it.
You're still holding strong in second?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say strong. There's only a couple of seconds in us between me and Chris Armstrong. So, yeah, we're going to have to put a good push on down the gap here now to see how we get on. It's new to the two of us going down, so yeah, it's going to be a challenging stage, so it is.
Colin, you have a strong lead. Gary's nipping at your tail.
Yeah, it's not too bad, no, and we did good enough 2 loops there now in the 3 new stages there, so bolt on another set of tyres now for the gap going down, and should be interesting. I've never done it before that way, so it'd be nice to do something different.
With unforeseen circumstances curtailing some of the stages, let's now look at some of the best action from throughout the field at this year's Killarney Historic Rally.
You did your first rally in 1977. You're the oldest driver here today.
I'm indeed, yeah, I'm 70 years. I haven't got stage yet, you know. But my daughter's leading me this ride. So Sinead is a petrol head, and she lives in Singapore, and she loves the techie pass, so she persuaded me to come back and drive a car she bought. So I'm sitting in free of charge.
We now turn to the different classes in both the modified and historic sections, and we start with Class 1. That was won by the Leyland Mini of Martin Page and Emma Clark. Class 2 victors, Nigel Malloy and James F. Stafford in the Ford Escort. Class 3 victors, a Mark II for James Cassidy and Gerard McKenna. In Class 4, fourth, and another finish under the belt for Noel O'Sullivan Sr. and Nick Burke, who won Class 4 on the inaugural historic rally back in 1996 and have competed in every event since. First in Class 4 were Lloyd Hutchinson and Willie Fitzpatrick in the Austin Mini Cooper S. Class 5 was won by the Mark II Escort of Tommy Cronin and Derek Butler. Class B1 victors, Morris and John Cullen in their Hillman Imp. In Class B2, Galway's Ray Cunningham and Des Sherlock took the overall victory in their Morris Cooper S. The class winners were Les Alfrey and Keith Fellows in their Mini Cooper S. Class B3 went the way of Tom and Helen Slattery in the Lotus Cortina. Class B4 victors, Peter and Billy Neville in the Volvo 142. In Class B5, the victors there, James O'Mahony and Gary Gallagher in the Volvo 144. Class C1 winners, Andrew O'Hanlon and Kevin Hogan in the Mini Cooper S. Edward Colton and Enda Shields in the Hillman Adventure were victors in Class C2. In Class C5, Padder and Grace Walsh took the overall award in their Mark I, while the class victors were Morris and Stephen Meskel in another Mark I. Class D2 victors Brian Crawford and Finian Hannigan in the Talbot Sunbeam. Class D3 went the way of the Ford Escort RS 2000, driven by Alan Watkins and co-driven by Owen McCarthy. Class E1, the victors there in the Vauxhall Nova were Aidan Jackson and Adam Coffey. Class E3, Owen and Keane Fogarty in the Toyota Corolla Twin Cam. Class F1, the winners there, Liam Regan and Andrew Bush in the Skoda Estelle. Class F3, John Mead and Owen Mulcahy in the Peugeot 205 GTI. Class F4 proved to be a battle between 4 BMW M3s. Fourth, Paul Ahern and Kieran Murphy. In third place, Conor McCrossan and William Lynch. Second, Aidan Long and Rory O'Donoghue. And the former ERC champion, Patrick Sneers, took the F4 trophy back to Belgium. One of the reasons for the increased presence and success indeed of the BMW M3s on Irish roads is Dutchman Mats van der Brand, whose BMW preparation company is responsible for several of the machines competing today.
Matt, we have a lot of drivers here singing your praises. Tell me how this all came about.
A couple of years ago, I just started for fun with an M3. Thanks to my dad, actually. He got me into rallying. And then, from there it started to be as a hobby, and now it's more than a hobby. It's still a hobby for me, but we started to take it serious back in 2020, so just before COVID. And since then, we've sold a few cars. We're getting more cars in England and Ireland now, because we started off in Belgium mainly. And then from there, we got across full Europe, started to do VI events, and then, from 1 car to 10 cars to we are sold now 70. When I had the first touch of an M3, I felt immediately in love. And it turned out we got quite a good car. So let's see how today goes.
Join us for the final part of this year's Killarney Historic Rally, where we will feature the top overall modifieds and the historics. Welcome back to the final part of this year's Killarney Historic Rally and the remaining 2 stages, both run over Moll's Gap but in reverse. And as the sun sets and nighttime descends on the kingdom, the final test will add another dimension to this year's event, as it will be run in darkness.
The lights are on, the night stage is here, and we're better to have it than the famous Moll's Gap. Each driver is looking forward to this challenge. It's going to be something special. Back to you, John.
There was 2 notable Subaru retirements in Alan Ring and Ray Breen, who both looked set for top 10 finishes in their 4-wheel drive machinery. Ring had climbed back up to 8th with 1 to go, but his event ended before the finish back in Killarney, and Breen too didn't get to the finish ramp, leaving Tommy McDonough and Paul Murphy in 10th place in their Ford Escort. 9th went to the 2022 historic Irish Tarmac Rally champion Neil Williams, with John Falvey alongside in the Ford Escort RS 1800. 8th was Michael McDade and Denver Rafferty in their Ford Escort, 8 seconds behind 7th place. John Bonner and John Michael O'Donnell enjoyed the tricky stages to move ahead of Williams early on, and he maintained his advantage to finish 7th. Stephen Greeny had closed to within 0.6 of a second of Fergus O'Mara by stage 6, but he couldn't quite find the pace to overhaul him by the finish, and he was 6th. Which left O'Mara and Brian Duggan in 5th place in the BMW M3. O'Mara claiming 2nd place historic Irish Tarmac points. The battle for fourth place provided compelling action throughout the day, but Conor Shanahan and Andy Hayes ultimately prevailed. Shanahan moved ahead of O'Mara on stage 6 and survived a moment on stage 8 when he clipped the rear of his M3 against a barrier. Rob Duggan struggled initially to adjust to the different characteristics of his historic specification RS 1800, but his confidence grew throughout the day, culminating in a sensational final stage performance where he was fastest by an unbelievable 15.5 seconds to secure his podium position. John O'Donnell's title defence got off to a strong start. He collected maximum historic points and a second place finished overall. The 2025 champion had half the gap to second place Donna Kelly on stage 7, and despite engine concerns, O'Donnell mounted a fierce late attack, taking 15 seconds off Kelly on the final stage to narrow the gap to just 1.5 seconds at the finish. The rally appeared destined for a very different conclusion after Chris Meek appeared to be cruising to victory, as the 2007 Rally of the Lakes winner's pace proved relentless, winning 7 stages in succession to build a commanding 1 minute and 19-second lead. However, an engine issue on Killarney's penultimate test brought Meek's remarkable run to a premature end. Meek's retirement opened the door for Donna Kelly to inherit the lead, but also set up a nail-biting finish as transmission issues on stage 8 threatened to derail Kelly's victory bid. But he held his nerve as both O'Donnell and Duggan had closed in behind. A victory margin of just 1.5 seconds, with Killarney's Christmas parade preceding Kelly's arrival at the finish ramp back in Killarney.
Donna, huge congratulations. You're bringing it back to Donegal for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah, it's a real treasure, a joy to win this again, you know, and yeah, it means so much because this is the big event for the historics every year. This is what we all kind of wait for. We put in the effort because it means a lot. It's just not another rally. It is quite a special rally.
It was a tight competition and you won by a little bit, but that's all it takes, isn't it?
That's all it takes indeed, you know, just by a whisker, you know, but yeah, I don't think we gauged it very well towards the end, you know, but at least we done enough.
Well, he really got it by the skin of his teeth. You were close on his tail all the way.
We were indeed, aye. Look, at the end of the day, I suppose, like I said to Paddy, we're having a crack in the car there and we're bridesmaid today, you know, we're runner-up, we're not the bride, but sure, hopefully our day will come, you know.
Rob, great achievement overall to come 3rd among the BMWs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, look, City out the weekend, we knew it was going to be a tough battle against all the BMWs, but we said we'd give it a go on the trusty escort, and yeah, it proved well. We had a tough start to the event, just didn't really click, but fairness to the boys, they did a great job to get the car right again for the last loop down in Kinmare, and a couple of setup changes and 2 fastest times to finish off the event was top class, and yeah, within striking distance of a win. So yeah, definitely happy, and the car home one piece, we can't ask for much more.
Connor, all day I've been at you to show us a little bit of drifting, and I think you did.
Yeah, that one was actually not planned. It was a real big moment, flat out in 5th gear at the end of Mal's Gap. Really lucky to gather it and keep it on the road, but what a day's fun. Childhood dream to come true for me to drive one of these cars at this rally, and to be just behind all these big boys for my 5th ever rally. I'm quite happy. So we need to, I think, buy our own one, start to put in the work on the notes and see if we can go a little bit faster.
We now move on to the modifieds, and in 10th place it was the Mark II of James Bradley and Shane O'Dowd. Gordon Morrison and Ian Parker slipped down the leaderboard somewhat to finish in 9th, but a good performance in the Mark II. In 8th, Billy Nolan and Mick Cody in the Toyota Corolla GT. 7th in modified, or the national class, it was Leonard Downey and Mark Murphy in their RS Ford Escort. 6th, Tim Flood and Anthony Smith in a Mark II Ford Escort. Another Mark II finish in 5th place. That was driven by John Michael Kennelly, co-driven by Dylan Harrington. In 4th, a Mark II Ford Escort with Michael Cahill behind the wheel and Killian McArdle as his navigator. Into the top 3, Gary McPhillips and Conor Mohan in a Ford Escort. They were 17.9 seconds off 2nd place. Which went to Chris Armstrong and Connor Smith in the Ford Escort. 1 minute and 29.4 seconds off the overall winners. Which were the O'Donoghue cousins of Colin and Kieran O'Donoghue.
The sharp 4 and the 4 right tightens and opens for long flat 3.
They were commanding all day in the Mark II Ford Escort and they cruised to victory.
1 right, long 2 left flat maybe 120, left side for long 3 right, 60, flat 2 left and flat 2 right 100. Flat 1 left, break over 1 right at Armco for 3 left tightens.
Went up the gap this morning on a bit of a gamble on the tyre choice, and it kind of worked out, and we maintained the pace all day, and it was nice to do the loop of 3 stages down there. It was different from previous years, so it was a bit of a level playing field for everyone, and the miles gapped in backwards in daytime and nighttime was magical, I suppose, because it's I've never done it before that way, and it was nice to do something different as well, you know.
Chris, great achievement coming 2nd.
Yeah, delighted now. It was a long day with a great battle with Gary McPhillips, so we're happy to come out on top with a couple of close ones on the last stage, so we're more than delighted to get across the line.
And was the nighttime driving or coming down the gap, or what was the close ones?
I think it was a bit of the nighttime driving and trying to push on to make sure we got 2nd place, but it was close, but we're happy we got to the end.
Gary, a great achievement in 3rd place today.
Look, I'm very happy with the result. Me and Conor hasn't done a rally in a good few years, so I'm delighted to get a good result. We had a good battle with Chris for most of the day, and he just pipped us in the end, but I'm still delighted to get the finish because it was a very tough event, and especially with the night stage, which we wouldn't have done a lot of, so we're happy with the finish.
So the Killarney Historic Rally top 5 was Donna Kelly, ahead of John O'Donnell, Rob Duggan, Conor Shanahan and Fergus O'Mara, while the top 5 in modifieds were John Michael Kennelly, Michael Cahill, Gary McPhillips, Chris Armstrong, and the commanding victory for the O'Donoghues in the Ford Escort Mark II. Before we wrap things up, let's hear from the clerk of the course, Anthony O'Connor.
I'm really, really grateful to the marshals, timekeepers and all those people that stood out this morning in absolutely horrendous weather conditions so that we could run the first stage on time. And I'd really like to thank the people of Killarney Town, especially the Town Council, who once again this year pulled out all the stops so we could move our ceremonial start, which was traditionally here in front of the Killarney Plaza Hotel, up to Collis Square in front of the Killarney Towers Hotel. So to the staff in Killarney Town Council, thanks very much. I suppose the other thing is the residents out on the stages who we locked in for 6, 7 and 8 hours for the day. Thanks very much for allowing us to have our fun on the day, and especially to remember Michael Gain down in the Kinmare area. So I really appreciate the residents on the stage and the way they fell in behind the event. So again, thanks very much.
What an eventful day it has been here at the Killarney Towers Historic Rally. Chris Meek led the rally all the way throughout the day until he had mechanical issues on stage 8, opening the door for Donegal's Donagh Kelly to take the victory home for the second year in a row. A huge congratulations also to Colin Donoghue, our modified winner. And from all of us here on the Limit Sports, bye for now.